Hey, what's up, everybody? Gonna do a classic rock reaction, man. This is Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin, we're continuing our look at the live sessions of Led Zeppelin, specifically the BBC series. Finished disc 1, so now we're on to disc 2. This is the Paris Theater concert edition, so looking forward to it, man. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to break these reactions. I believe there's 10 songs. I'm going to break them into parts and go from there. It might be 3 or 4 parts. We'll see how it goes. But first I'm going to start off with Immigrant Song, then Heartbreaker, and then Since I've Been Loving You. Since I've Been Loving You, man, let me tell you, got tingles with that one. Since I've Been Loving You is probably the most important Led Zeppelin song to me, because it was the very, very first Led Zeppelin reaction. I mean, a really good look at Led Zeppelin. Of course, I was aware of Stairway to Heaven, Immigrant Song, Black Dog Rock and Roll, what I'm calling their commercial success songs, but the best of Led Zeppelin is that stuff below the surface of the iceberg. I was just looking at the tip, and I thought in my mind that was the very best that they had, and the story. I also said to myself, once I get into the body of doing reactions, I'll probably end up doing a couple of quads for Led Zeppelin, and then I'll be done. This is the most embarrassing confession for me. Whenever this song comes up, I have to relate and go back into that storyline of how I came into Led Zeppelin and where and why and how. That shit is embarrassing to admit, that I didn't know enough about Led Zeppelin, and I had that ignorant premise going into it, that ignorant mindset going into it. To this day, my friends, don't let me forget it. So those 3 songs is going to kick off part 1 of the Paris Theater BBC sessions, man. I want to give a shout out and a thanks very much to Jeffrey Davis. Jeffrey, thank you for providing all of these links, man. And Jeffrey, man, Jeffrey reminds me of an old platoon drill sergeant that I once had. Check this shit out. So Jeffrey says, the next 10 tracks is the Paris Theater Concert, 1971, in concert with MC John Peel. Venue, quote, Paris Theater, Lower Regent Street, London. Recording date, quote, Thursday, 1st of April, 1971. Original broadcast, quote, Sunday, 4th of April, 1971. Disc 2. These are the titles. Check, check, check. Yo, man. Jeffrey, you remind me of an old drill sergeant, man. This dude, this is the way he spoke to us when he was giving us a briefing. And he's like, be on the parade square for drill, 3 hours of drill. If you are 1 second late, it's 100 push-ups per second that you're late. We were never late. And yo, man, so Jeffrey, you're taking me back in time, brother. But thank you, though. Thank you for really mapping this out for me, because you know, I was so overwhelmed with where do I start? Well, I know where to start. I know that I should start somewhere in the beginning, but then people are telling me this, and my brain just went into this I don't know, meltdown mode, just like I did with the Bob Dylan Artist of the Month. And then I had to actually get my patrons to give me a track to run on, you know, do this first, then after this one, then this, then this. So thank you very much, Jeffrey, for breaking it down like that. It really, really helps. Yes, I know Led Zeppelin by now, but yo, the live stuff is just another dimension, you know what I mean? And I need to be taken into it by the hand. So Jeffrey, I appreciate you for that, brother. All right, enough of these long ass intros. Let's get to the tune. So this is part 1 of disc 2, starting off with Immigrant Song. Led Zeppelin, BBC. Let's get it.
this is something we've waited for a long time on the show, and I know it's all going to be well worth the wait.
Well, that's the MC.
Led Zeppelin.
They just jumped right in. Listen to that bass work. Something extra. Great solo. It's the bass work that's getting me though. Damn, that is sexy as hell. Alright, let's try this shit. Let's pause for about 5 seconds and see if maybe this might be, I don't know, make a difference. I would love to get at least one of these BBC sessions up on YouTube. So, yeah, I know it's been longer than 5 seconds, but yeah, that's the plan, man. So, let's see if these breaks in between will actually help. They haven't so far. All right, man. Let's continue.
Won't take long, just what you see. I'm gonna see the body down.
These guys were twang. A little classical. These guys, man. Spirit of his delivery. It's true, even in the form of audio. You can visualize it. And there's the crowd. Beautiful. All right, man. 5-second pause. Here comes my jam.
makes love a drag. I don't think that's right, no. I've really been the best of fools. Love did what I could, yeah. How I love you, baby, how I love you. Mama love, yes I love. Oh, little girl. Baby, since I've been loving you now, I'm about to lose all my worried mind. Everybody trying to tell me you didn't mean me no good. I said I tried. I said I tried. I said I tried to do the best, the very best I could. And I've been working. I don't think you realize. I've been working every day. Take my pay away now. Baby, baby, since I've been loving you, I'm about to lose my worried mind.
Presence of that organ in there reaches your soul, doesn't it?
Babe, I've been crying. Oh, my tears fell like rain. Baby, come on home now. Hey, hey, hey.
tell you. Two big takeaways from these BBC sessions so far. One is a really, really good example of how sometimes their raw, gritty, live sound is actually even better listened than their studio sound. Some parts of Led Zeppelin live has a really excellent charm to it. There's a little bit more of a haunting effect. I said before in my previous sessions there, part 4 of disc 1, that the difference between Led Zeppelin and a lot of other great, excellent bands is that Led Zeppelin has a way to reach in and grab your soul, haunt you a little bit. This is a good example. All of their songs have that element, but some of their live stuff has an extra adage of essence to it, where it just seems to be more of a pleasurable listen to me than the studio, the polished studio-ness. A good example of the song remains the same, actually. The song remains the same. Rain Song, No Quarter, I believe Celebration Day. I noted in my mind that, you know what, I enjoy listening to these tunes live more than the studio, even though the studio cut is really good. I got into some serious trouble there too, because I made the mistake of reacting to, I believe it's The Song Remains the Same, live first before the studio. And oh my gosh, one particular patron just really, really tore into me, gave me dislikes, and canceled his subscription, even unsubscribed from YouTube, so I still laugh at that shit. So but there you go, as an example of someone who feels as strongly about this sort of thing as I do. But my point is that some of their live stuff is has a little bit more charm and more of a pleasurable listen. So going into these live sessions for me, it's really it's a nice mental exercise to compare the two. I'm always comparing it, of course, to the studio, and as unpolished as it is, and as all of these, it still has that charm to it. It still has that Led Zeppelin stamp. It still has their power signatures. It still has their, like in Heartbreaker especially, it had a lot of their charm, their essence, that bass work that Jones was doing, even in behind Jimmy Page's guitar solo, I was noticing it, and of course John Bonham is always there punching you in the face with the thunder. So man, I'm telling you, I was considering skipping over these BBC sessions. Can you believe that shit? Yo. So, yeah, man. So that's basically my first big observation where it comes to the live stuff so far. And it's whetting my appetite, and I'm really even much more in anticipation of, doing the live sessions, whether or not they have video coverage or not. So yeah, man, I'm really enjoying the hell out of these. And I guess the other thing that I noted, guys, give me a sec. Someone's at my door. Hang on. Hey, sorry about that, man. That was my Amazon delivery. Got myself another hat. So, yeah, the second thing that I noted was it keeps taking me back in time, these sessions. You know what? My entire channel is under the overlapping umbrella effect of the Renaissance period of creativity. How these lads, among others, came out of that period just being blessed with a creative edge to them. It was a culmination in time and all of the elements coming together, and then you get this supernova effect of all of these fantastic artists just creating well. And, all across the genres, I mean, that was a period of time where everybody was just firing up on their creative element, from the rock genre to the disco to all of these different elements. They were so creative. And a lot of them were creating things that, well, yes, of course you get inspired and all of this sort of thing, but they had their own creative process going and gelling, you know what I mean? And I noted that, even though these guys were 20, they were well on their way to being really great music creators, great writers, and all of that sort of thing. And I think that the blues just helped to kind of push them in that direction. By the time they got into their third album, man, they were just off and running and creating their own stuff, And I'm really happy to see that they were able to just leapfrog off of that and then create their own stuff. They were hitting you with the psychedelic and the progressive, and then you had the folk rock element in Led Zeppelin 3 going on to Houses of the Holy, with the no quarters. Oh man, I'm telling you, these guys really fanned out, and they leapfrogged from their humble blues rock beginnings, so it's a really excellent when you're studying. I like to study Led Zeppelin. When you're studying them, that is a very, very notable effort, to go off into your own. And then, they once in a while, they'll come back to the soul, to the blues, like in Physical Graffiti, especially remaking Jesus Gonna Make Up My Dying Bed. So it was always with them, even in Presence when they did Nobody's Fault But Mine. So that brings me to another question. Two more. This is my favorite song, Led Zeppelin song, Since I've Been Loving You. It is the song for me. It is mine. There is no other song that comes a close second to it. This is my song, Since I've Been Loving You. It isn't just because it was the very first Led Zeppelin reaction. I think that I was just really, really studied and scouted well by my friends. And they didn't have me do a quad or even an album. They didn't have me do a double or a triple. Just one song, right? My friends noted how deep I was getting into this, and especially the anti-war thing. And some of them were saying, I don't know if it's good or if it isn't, because this dude is sitting there for 8 hours sometimes between reactions and editing and research and all of this sort of thing. And I think that, it can't be good, just to have him going so deep in it, especially where you're talking about the topics of anti-war, where you're talking about the fact that he's an ex-military guy and he's getting these connections. And they were watching me once when I was doing a reaction to a video, and I started to cry and everything, and they're like, okay, that's it. So they had to break me out of this mold. So Led Zeppelin did it, this song. So that's my song for so many reasons. But with my dad, it's I believe, speaking for him, the song for him is You Shook Me. I believe that's the one. When he heard that, he sat still for 5 minutes and he didn't speak. When my dad can't talk, that tells you that you got here, right? And so it's great to me that he accepts Led Zeppelin as a blues band. Coming from that guy and coming from Old Man Rufus, that is very, very, you have no idea how important and powerful that is. Speaking of Rufus, for him, it's Nobody's Fault But Mine. Absolutely. So, every Led Zeppelin fan, and I know that you guys are going to say this, well, my favorite Led Zeppelin song is the one that I'm currently listening to. No, that is a little bit of a cop-out. So here's my question. There is always one core, true Led Zeppelin song that will get you every single time. Whether it's live, whether it's studio, whatever the case is, that is your song, and you know it when you hear it. I want you to go into your brain, and I want you to go back into your memory banks and pick that song. For every single Led Zeppelin fan, there is one core Led Zeppelin song. Yeah, they're all probably on the same level here, but there is one that if you were to put on repeat for 24 hours, you would not mind. That's the song. What is it? That's my question. Because I know, for me, it's this one. Since I've been loving you. For everyone, it's different, right? So I want to know what that song is. And here's the thing. Physically, if we were to sit you down in a room and to put this song on repeat for 24 hours, you would be totally fine with it. That's the song. So that's the test, So tell me what that song is. I want to know. And tell me why. Tell me how. Like I broke down for you in my case, why this song is my favorite, how it became my favorite, what it does for me, all of these different things. I broke it down. You break that shit down for me like that. That's a part of my study. That's the formation of the science that I'm looking into. So tell me why. Every single Led Zeppelin fan has that core Led Zeppelin song. Let me know. All right. So the BBC sessions, man. What a fantastic compilation of really, really great moments, and early when they were still young. They still had all of their elements together, and yes, they were not as polished as if they were in the studio, but even hearing them in this raw, gritty state, you still had that arresting element. You still had that haunting impression, and that first notable impression of, holy cow, who are these guys? What are they all about? So those impressions. But where it comes to first impressions, I got another question. Was this the BBC sessions the first big impression on you? If you're a Led Zeppelin fan from way back in the day, I guess you'd be in your 60s, 70s, 80s by now. Were you there? Were you around? Did you get your first big impression off of the BBC sessions, if you can remember that far back? Let me know. Let me know if the BBC sessions of Led Zeppelin hold something very, very dear to you, hallowed to you. If you were there, if you had heard it, that was your first big grouping of Led Zeppelin songs that you listened to when you were younger and it stayed with you. I'm sure that we've got some very, very interesting testimonials out there about the BBC sessions. And it must have been really, really nice for you when they released it in this really nice package in, I believe it was 2016. So if you're out there, man, you're still with us, and you remember the times that you were exposed to Led Zeppelin, specifically if it was the BBC sessions that did that for you, let me know. I'd love to hear from you about that, man. So, let's do a little research on the periphery of the BBC sessions. So starting with the BBC sessions, I know I read this before, but it's laying a foundation for people who've just maybe joined me or have started. It's only 2 short paragraphs. BBC Sessions is a compilation album featuring studio sessions and a live concert recorded by English rock group Led Zeppelin for the BBC. It was released on the 11th of November in 97 by Atlantic Records in 97. Disc 1 consists of material from 4 different 69 BBC sessions. Disc 2 contains most of the 1st of April 71 concert from the Paris Theatre in London. Disc 3 was only included in a limited run of album releases and features rare interviews from 69, 76, 77, and 1990. Countless bootlegs of these recordings circulated for years before the official release. This release was widely welcomed by Led Zeppelin fans as it was the first live release since the song remains the same in 76. Others have criticized the decision to edit some of the songs and drop others that were recorded for the BBC. Most notable are one session from 1969, which included the unreleased song Sunshine Woman, and about 7 minutes of the Whole Lotta Love medley from 1971. The album was re-released in September 2016 as the complete BBC sessions, with further BBC recordings, including the Sunshine Woman session. Quick question about that. Did Peter Grant have anything to do with limiting the circulation element? Is that a part of what happened? Answer that for me, will you? So, while I'm on the page, let's just do a super quick little read on the Paris Theater, man. Great notable venues, definitely deserves a little acknowledgement. The Paris Theater, also known as the Paris Studios, was originally a cinema located at 12 Lower Regent Street in central London, which was converted into a studio by the BBC for radio broadcasts requiring an audience. It was used for several decades by the BBC as the main venue for comedy programs broadcast on BBC Radios 2 and 4. The venue had a capacity of under 400 and a stage roughly 12 inches from the floor, giving it an intimate feeling helpful for radio comedy with an audience. Shows recorded that were included panel game shows such as I'm Sorry I Haven't a Clue, comedies such as High Gang, Dad's Army, The Goon Show, Don't Show Now, Its Foundation, and non-audience shows such as The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. In addition to comedy, the BBC recorded performances by musical artists at the Paris Theatre, including acts such as T-Rex, AC/DC, Badfinger, The Beatles, David Bowie, Leonard Cohen, Jeff Beck, Deep Purple, Slade, holy cow, Mahavishnu Orchestra, Fleetwood Mac, Genesis, Led Zeppelin, James Taylor, Joni Mitchell, Queen, Pink Floyd, Nazareth, Rod Stewart, Simple Minds, and it just goes on and on, man. The Paris Theatre closed in 1995, being replaced by the BBC Radio Theatre in Broadcasting House. The closure was marked with a commemorative concert and broadcast of the last show ever to be recorded at the theatre, namely the final show in Series 2 of The Skivers. Or is it Skivers? Skivers. Alright, man, there you go. Shout out to this great venue, the Paris Theatre, that brought us this fantastic recording on disc 2. Alright, man, so what I'm going to do going forward is my next part 2 of disc 2 is going to feature maybe 2, maybe 3 songs. I'm not sure about the length. Now I'm just scrolling up to Jeffrey's note here. And I think part 2 has Dazed and Confused in it, and it's 18 minutes long. And then there's Black Dog before that. So it'll probably include just Black Dog and Dazed and Confused. And of course, Stairway to Heaven is almost 9 minutes long, and then Going to California. Yeah, so it's definitely going to be broken up. Whoa. Sorry, I'm just looking at Whole Lot of Love. It's 14 minutes. Yeah, so we'll see. 4 or 5 parts anyway. We'll see how that goes. And I just want to warn you guys, time right now, I'm really, really busy in my life outside of doing reactions. And so I'm basically doing these little dips of Led Zeppelin when I can. So you're not going to see a regular weekend hop like I used to, not until the end of the year. So I'm just basically just going to do it whenever I can. So like in this case, I just did one, but you're getting another one. So you're going to see a pattern like that, but it's not going to be consistent, because sometimes you won't see another reaction for another week, that sort of thing. But I gotta kind of get it in there when I have the time to do it, rather than just waiting for a hallowed time, because that's completely being interrupted with my life at the moment. So that's basically how, just to let you know what's happening in the next little bit. So man, that's what I have planned for Led Zeppelin. I also want to get back into getting into the Southern rock genre a bit, and also taking a look at the progressive rock genres a bit. I had kind of dropped the ball on both of them, so I want to get back into that. Sometimes I gotta put something else aside for a while to kind of take up something else, because it's like a buffet and I'm all over the place. But that's what I want to do going into year 3 of my reaction channel. Of course, you've got the Led Zeppelin stuff, and then some of the other things coupled with the complimentary quads album reactions that I do, and also the new platform. I can't forget the new platform. My goal on the new platform is to put up at least 3, maybe 4 reactions a week. Right now it's between 2 and 3, so I want to increase that. And I want to stay consistent, of course, with my main platform being the classic rock platform. Why? Because it's my personal journey. The other platform, the Beyond Rock platform, it's basically just satisfying a request and a demand. You know what I'm saying? So fan service, if you will, for a lesser word. You know, you guys aren't fans, but you know what I'm talking about. I can't think of a better word. But that's basically where I'm at where it comes to the structure of my channel and my focus and my priorities and stuff like that. I'm still running close to a week and a half behind now with my complimentary quads and my full album reaction. So I really got to get back on that. Thank you very much for a number of you, especially patrons who have not pestered me. And you've noted that, okay, I'm running late, but you haven't pestered me. So thank you. Much appreciation and love for that. Yeah, man. These BBC sessions are just phenomenal. And I can't believe I was even entertaining the thought of skipping over them. I would have probably doubled back, but you know, I think that they just have to be done in succession, whether or not they have video. You know what I'm saying? And sticking to video, well, I'm glad that I didn't just stubbornly stick to no. I gotta have, you know, when some of you said to me, yo, Wayne, this is important shit, man. You know, I listen to you. You know what I'm saying? I dig you guys for that. Well, I know when something is important. Just the way you come across and how you speak to me, I can understand sometimes why it's important. So thanks to a lot of you who mentioned it, because I did have the intention of just going from one video source to another, but I think I would have missed out on some essence, you know, and that's what I'm chasing. So I think that it was very important that I do these in succession. So thanks to all of you who told me, no, man, you definitely got to include the BBC sessions. All right. I'm out of here, man. You guys have yourselves a good one. Take care. And in the next couple of days, you'll see part 2 of the Paris Theater sessions. All right? Peace out.